Hello, everybody. Myself, Sia Patle, a third year MBBS student from AIIMS Nagpur. And today we are back with the previous year question series of the topic biodiversity and its conservation. In this series, we are discussing the previous year questions that have appeared in your NEET exam. And in this session, we are discussing the other half of PYQs. In the previous video, we have talked about the first half of the questions. So I request you, if you have not seen that video, go through it once because when we solve the previous year question, you get an idea about what type of question the examiner is putting, what is the examiner's mindset when he is framing the question, and understanding this is of prime importance because once you understand this, you will do smart work while you're revising. You focus through the topics that the examiner is highly emphasizing on. So this is what a smart work is. So in this session also, we are going to try to understand few concepts. I will make sure that I am able to deliver to you these concepts in a very easy manner. So let us start with this question and see what this question is presenting to us. In question number 18, the question is, which one of the following is not observed in the biodiversity hotspot? So again, as I tell you, whenever you're reading the question, if you see any keyword, always use a pencil and mark it, pencil or pen, and mark it in your question paper. Do not make the mistake of just neglecting it because this can cost you into silly mistakes. And the most important thing to score good marks is to decrease your silly mistakes. Okay. So mark such keywords. So we have option A, B, C, D, and we have to find which of them is wrong. But with respect to biodiversity hotspot. So in the previous session, we have discussed about biodiversity hotspot. What do they mean? Correct. So let me just try to revise it for you. Biodiversity, as the name suggests, there is a diversification. That means various types of species are found. Then only we say it is diversified. When we have different patterns or different species. And what is hotspot? Hotspot is actually a term that refers to a area where the richness in diversity of species is high. So ultimately, bio hotspot is area where the species diversity is very rich. Okay. So based on this topic, based on this concept, let us try to see the statements and figure out if they are correct or not. So A is saying endemism. Yes. What do you mean by endemism? We have also discussed about this, but let me revise it for you. Means the species are endemic. When I say endemic, that means they are what we can say is defined. The species are defined within a particular region. Okay, in other regions, in other areas, you can say, in other areas, you will not find this such richness in species. While in a particular area, there is going to be some specific species. So you can say that these species are specific for a particular area. And instead of saying the big term like specific for a particular area, we are replacing it with endemic. Okay. So that is what endemic is. So yes, it is true. The biodiversity hotspots are endemic. So option A is true. Let's see option B. Option B is saying there is accelerated species loss. And when they are saying accelerated species loss, what does that mean? That since these different species are endemic to a particular region, so all the species within the particular region are going to interact among themselves and only amongst themselves they are going to exchange the genetic material. So the availability or the chances of genetic variation is going to decrease, correct? Whereas, let us try to imagine a second case where there is widespread species distribution. So, if it is a widespread species distribution, the genetic material exchangement can occur at multiple levels. So the diversification in genetics is going to be more. Ultimately, if there is more genetic diversification, there are going to be more species. But if we have an endemic area or in a hotspot where it is restricted, the exchange between the species is going to be limited. So the possibility of developing different species ultimately goes down. Yes. So option B is also true. I hope you have understood. Okay. Now let us see option number C. Option C is saying lesser interspecific competition. Now you try to imagine, let us imagine a classroom, and in a classroom there is a defined area, correct? We have a defined area, and in this defined area we have multiple students. Multiple students are there, and the resources are defined. So it is obvious that amongst all of the present students in the classroom, I'm saying, so it is an analogy for the species that is present in the hotspot I am giving you. So if the resources are limited and the number of people are more, there is going to be competition between them. Correct? The one that is able to win the competition will get the resources. Surviving of the fittest, you might have heard, correct? So similarly, since a hotspot is a defined area, so even there is going to be high specific competition. And when I say inter, that means one species is competing with the other species for their existence. So it is going to be high and not low. I have explained you why it will be high and not low. I hope you have understood that. So option C becomes a false statement. So we know that if option C is false and in the question they have asked us about the false or the not correct, so you can just mark option C. But no, I have told you, and I keep telling you again and again, even when you have got a appropriate answer, just do not blindly mark it. Just have a quick glance on the remaining options. Just a quick glance. I'm not asking you to spend time over the next remaining option. Just have a quick glance. So let us just see what is option D saying. Option D is saying species richness. That is so absolutely true because the term hotspot itself is going to denote that there is correct answer is option number C. This is important to understand why there is high interspecific competition. I hope you have understood. Let me repeat it once again. Because the resources are limited, but the number of species are high. That is why there is going to be high competition. So for this question, you can mark option C as the answer. Let us move to question number 19 and see what is question number 19 trying to assess. So in this question, they are asking the World Summit on Sustainable Development in 2002 was held in. Okay. So actually, this is a factual question. There is no concept in it as such. And these factual questions are going to be repeated from this topic. We have discussed this earlier also, that this topic from 12th NCRT has so many facts. There are so many facts. And these facts are going to be straightforward questions. So it actually becomes a benefit for you. If you know the concept, you are going to straight away mark your answer and going to get correct marks even in very less time because you know the answer, so you can just quickly mark it. Correct. So it's very important that all the facts that are given in your books, you make some proper notes and keep revising it again. So from the book, a straight line has come and it is asking about the World Sustainable Summit. So actually in 2002, around 190 countries participated in a world summit. Okay. And this world summit topic was discussing about the sustainable development. Correct. And this conference or the summit, we can say, was held in Johannesburg. Okay. Yeah. This line is actually given as it is in your book. So it is really important that you make some notes out of this. So it was in Johannesburg. Johannesburg is in South Africa. And the goal for this summit was to decrease the exploitation or loss of biodiversity. Okay. So this is some extra points which we have discussed, but in this question they were just asking you where it was held. So you can see it was held in Johannesburg, that is South Africa. They might also ask you in which year. So it was in 2002. So you can clearly mark option number D as your correct answer and move ahead. Now there are going to be many such questions that are going to be fact based, and there is actually no concept as such in this questions. But since these are important in day to day life as well as they're practical questions, so there is chances that such question might appear. Okay. So let us move to our next question number 20 and figure out what question number 20 is trying to ask. In question number 20, they're asking one of the endangered species of Indian medicinal plant is that of. Okay. Now, in this question, the key concept involved here is about the endangered species. So, let us try to solve this question by first trying to understand the concept of endangered. When we say endangered, what does that mean? Endangered means that the species are present now, are present, but they are the number is being drastically decreased. Okay, they are decreasing at a great rate, and if we do not stop it, if no intervention, they will become extinct. Now these are two terms: extinct is a term and endangered is a term. Now, endanger, as the name says, they are in danger. They are in danger. When are we saying that something is in danger? When they are going to become extinct, something that is going to happen. It is not yet happened, but it is bound to happen. Okay. And the term extinct means the bad thing that was going to happen has occurred and all of them have disappeared. Now there are no species of a particular group. While endangered, there are present, the species are present, but the rate of decrease is increasing. I mean, they're disappearing. Okay, so this is the concept of endangered and extinct species. So they are asking that amongst the given options, which of the Indian medicinal plant is going to is facing endangered. Okay, so I would like to show you a photo so that it helps you remember. So I want you to focus on this photo. You can see this plant. This is a medicinal plant known as Podophyllum. And out of this plant, such medicine is formed. You see, I think it is not very clear. It is written Podophyllum. Okay, so what is the function of this Podophyllum? So the through the plant we make a medicine, and this medicine has a property to destroy the tissue, destroy tissue of growing mass. So we can use this concept and used in clinics or in treating the benign conditions. I hope you know what benign is. So let me just tell you in brief what benign conditions are. Benign conditions are they are kind of tumor growing mass that is not cancerous, but the growth rate is high and they tend to keep on replicating, thus increasing their size. Okay, so these benign tumor mass, let us just write benign mass of tissue or the warts that you see on the skin. These benign mass and warts can be removed by the use of this medicine plant that is none other than but Podophyllum. I have shown you the photo. I hope it helps you remember what it was and how is it going to remove the benign mass or the warts of the skin. because it has, we are going to apply the podophyllum medicine on the mass which we have, and it is going to penetrate the mass which is there, and it will destroy the tissues, the growing tissues. Okay, so the mass is ultimately getting removed. So we can mark option number D as the correct option, as podophyllum is one of the endangered species. So I hope you have understood the concept of endangered and extinct species, because this is an important concept and questions might be framed on this. Okay. So with this question, we have understood few concepts. Let us move to the next question and try to understand what this question is asking us. So in question number 21, the question is stating, identify the odd combination of the habitat and the particular animal concerned. So again, you are supposed to highlight or underline the term odd, because they are asking which among the following option is wrong. Odd means that it is not matching, correct? So for this, you should know about all options. Then only you will be able to answer this question. Okay, so through this one question, they are checking if you know about all. True. So let us try to analyze each option and figure out which is the correct option. They are giving that in Sundarbans we find Bengal tiger. So yes, that is absolutely true. This is kind of some GK knowledge you should have, but this is also given in your book, so don't worry. But you can solve this even based on a GK. We have learned that the Royal Bengal tigers are found in great number in the Sundarban region of West Bengal. There, correct? So yes, option A is correct. And you can actually make a table, a short table where all the national parks are, there are named national parks and what are these national parks famous for, correct? So you can make a table so that at one place you have all of them written and you can just go through it while revising. So let us write Sundarbans as Royal Bengal tigers. Correct? Now let us see option number B. In option number B, they are given Periyar is for elephants. Now, you might have not heard this term where Periyar is. So actually, Periyar is in Kerala. Now I think you might be able to answer that in Kerala, do we have elephants? So yes, you have seen in many South movies or TV channels, you might have seen that elephants are found in great number in the Kerala. So yes, even option number B, that is Periyar, is famous and has elephant species. Okay, let us move to third. Third is saying the run of Kutch is famous for wild ass. Wild ass means wild donkeys. Okay. So in the run of Kutch, Gujarat, let me just write it Kerala here. Let's write run of Kutch. You can just write Gujarat in bracket. Yes, it is famous for wild donkeys, or you can call them as wild ass. Let us move to question option number D. Option number D is saying Dachi Gam for snow leopard. So the national park of Dachigam is in Assam. Okay. Oh, my bad. The Dachigam is not in Assam. It is in Jammu and Kashmir. J and K is famous for snow leopards. J and K we can write as Dachigam. So Dachigam is famous for snow leopards is a false statement, because the Dachigam or the Jammu and Kashmir, it is famous for Kashmiri stag. Now, what is this Kashmiri stag? Again, I have got a photo for you so that you remember this. It's such a beautiful animal. You look at it, the horns. This is nothing but a stag, and it is found specifically in the Jammu and Kashmir area. And the national park is Dachi Gam. Okay, I hope you will remember this. Now, but in the question, they have asked us about snow leopards also. So it is wise that you also know where the snow leopards are found. So snow leopards are actually found in Himachal Pradesh. I am going to write that also. Himachal, we have snow leopards. Okay. I hope it is clear. And you have made this table. Let's just mark this table. And if we get further questions where such concepts are involved, we will come here and add those lists or those names in our list so that we have a table and a list kind of thing ready for us whenever we want to revise it. So for this question, based on this information, I hope you were able to solve. So amongst the following, option number D is the odd one out because snow leopards is found in Himachal and the National Park of Dachikam in Jammu and Kashmir is famous for its Kashmir stags. So this is the concept that the examiner was trying to assess if you have some common knowledge, general knowledge. Okay. So with this, I hope you have understood. Let us move to question number 22. In question number 22, they are asking which of the following pair of organisms are exotic species introduced in India? Okay, so first of all, to solve this question, you should know what are exotic species. But even if you don't know, they have given in the question itself that they're introduced in India. That means exotic species means that they are not originating in India, but have been introduced introduced and originally belong to some foreign land. Okay, so we have a very famous example of the plant species that are actually American in origin. Their native is American, and they were being brought to India by the in the history they were brought to India for various purposes like mental purposes. But actually, when they were bought in India, they instead of being ornamental and beautiful and decorative, they were found to cause trouble. Okay, they were troublesome to us. Now let us discuss more about this in detail. So if you read your book and if you know, we have a species very famously known as the terror of Bengal. The people from Bengal area might have heard about this. When I say terror of Bengal, what am I actually referring to is nothing but a simple aquatic plant, which is actually very beautiful. I will show you the photo. And this aquatic plant's name is nothing but water hyacinth. Now let me show you the photo so that you remember, as because pictorial memory is always the longest. Now you see this photo. I want you to see this photo. What do you see? You see there are whole area which I'm showing you is covered by some green plants. Can you anywhere understand that actually this is a water body? When if I say that this is a water body, you will not believe it because you can't just see water anywhere. And that is why we call it as terror of Bengal because you see these small plants, these are nothing but water hyacinth, and this water hyacinth has excessive reproductive capacity. It is going to reproduce and spread all over our aquatic body. You can see this elephant is there, it is wet from down, so it actually shows that water is there. But apart from that, if you just see this area and this area, I am sure you will not be able to see any water. And what happens when such aquatic plants are growing so rapidly, they are going to use up all the oxygen. They will not allow the oxygen to enter the aquatic flora and fauna, like the fishes that are living in the water, will not get oxygen and they tend to die. They have less oxygen coming to them. So we can what we can do is we will remove this water hyacinth. But even when you are removing the water hyacinth, the growth is so rapid, it is so rapid that even before you are completed removing the whole lake from this water hyacinth, new growth would have taken place and would have covered the area. So ultimately, since it is causing a great oxygen depletion and causing death of fishes, we call it as terror of Bengal. And you have seen in the photo that it actually has very beautiful purple colored flower. So for that reason, the foreigners had introduced this plant as an ornamental or as a showpiece so that it can increase the beauty of lake. But instead, who knew this is not a good thing because it is just occupying and destroying the flora and fauna of the aquatic lifestyle. Okay, so one of that common example of exotic species that is going in destruction is water hyacinth. And similarly, we have one another exotic species that is known as, let me write it here, that is Lantana camara. This is also American in origin, and it also has a similar principle that it is going to rapidly grow. It causes dense, thick growth, but this is not aquatic. This is going to grow on the agricultural land. And if it grows on the agricultural land, the land available for agriculture is just decreasing and becoming not available for cultivation. It is becoming dry, so even that is problematic for us. Okay, so let us try to view the options and I will explain you about all the options that are given in the question. So option A is saying us about Lantana camara. I told you just now. The other part of the option is saying water hyacinth. We have discussed about water hyacinth, correct? Let us see what is option B say, option C and option D say. So in the other options, they have given a term as Nile perch. So actually, Nile perch is a fish that was being introduced. So this is also an example of exotic fish that was introduced not in India but actually in Africa. And this also caused some troublesome in Africa because the original fishes of African rivers were being decreased, and the number of Nile perch, which was an exotic thing introduced there, was increasing number. But in the question, it is specifically asking us about India. So Nile perch can't be the answer because it was not in India but in Africa. In option one more uh, botanical name is given is Ficus religiosa. So it is a botanical name for our common people. And do you think people tree or people plant is exotic? No, it is very, very Indian in origin. Okay, it has Indian origin. So Ficus religiosa can't be the correct option. Even Nile perch can't be the correct option. Why? Even though it is example of exotic or a species that is being introduced from outside, but since the question is saying specifically India, so even the option containing Nile perch can't be the correct answer. So the correct answer would be option containing water hyacinth and Lantana camara. That matches with option number A. I hope this uh, concept of exotic and water hyacinth is understood. I have shown you the image so that you can remember it. So with this, we have understood a concept and solved this question. Let us move to our next question number 23 and try to see what question number 23 is giving us. So in question number 23, it is asking which of the following is not included under the in situ conservation. Again, mark such terms, such keywords as now. I hope now you have got a habit of marking such keywords. Let us see. They are asking which of the following is not in situ. That means they are asking me which of the following is ex situ. And we have discussed in brief about in situ and ex situ in our previous lecture on this topic. I request you to go through it because the topic of in situ, ex situ has been repeated so many times and it is such a high yield concept. At the same time, it is very easy to understand, and I have tried my best to make you understand this concept in a very simple terms. So I request you to go and watch it because there are going to be so many questions. I am definitely sure that this is one of the very high yield topic from this chapter. So it is very important for you to understand what is in situ and what is ex situ and what are the common examples that are being asked in situ and ex situ. So let us apply the concept which we have earlier studied in this question. So since they are asking us about ex situ, that means it has to be some man-made structure, and away from the natural habitat. So amongst the option, let us see option A. So option A is saying botanical garden. So as we know, this botanical garden is a man-made structure. So there we have that option A is going to be XC2 because the gardens are man-made and there is involvement of man. So it becomes XC2. So we have our answer as option A. But let us have a quick glance on option B, C, and D. Option B is saying about biosphere reserve, option C is saying national park, and option D is saying sanctuary. So all these option B, C, and D are occurring in natural habitat away or without any human interference. So option B, C, and D are examples of in situ. So I have just in very brief, in very quickly explained the concept of in situ and ex situ. And if you want, I have explained it very well in the previous video. You can just go through it. So the correct answer for this option is question is option number A. I hope you have understood it. So let us move to question number 24 and try to understand what question number 24 is asking us. Okay. Actually, question number 24, it is asking which of the following is considered a hotspot of biodiversity in India. Again, this concept we have discussed it. We have solved 2 to 3 questions on the same concept. So I hope even you are understanding do you know the concept of ex situ in situ? Do you know the concept of biodiversity hotspots? So we have discussed about biodiversity hotspot that these are the areas with high species diversities, uh, a high richness in species diversity. Okay. Now we have also discussed that we will find such high species diversity or species richness mainly in the tropical rainforest. Why? Because the tropical rainforest has high amount of light, it has a suitable temperature, which allows the habitat to grow. And as the habitat grows, all the species also tend to grow. So we have to find the example of tropical forest in the questions in the options A, B, C, D. And in India, the tropical forest, or we can say biodiversity hotspot, is none other than but our Western Ghats. We have discussed that Western Ghats has many endemic species. It shows endemism. Okay, it is tropical forest and a biodiversity hotspot. So option number D itself is the most appropriate and correct answer. You could have solved it by some basic concept and common sense. Now let us discuss 1 to 2, 3 points more regarding to biodiversity hotspots, so that even if the question is not asked here, but there is a tendency that this question can come. Okay, so initially there were around 25 biodiversity hotspots, and recently 9 more have been identified. So a total of 34 biodiversity hotspot is being present. Okay, this is just a factual information. I hope the concept of biodiversity hotspot and they being in the Western Ghats in India is you option D as the correct answer. And why we have marked option D, I hope it is clear to you. So let us move to our next question number 25 and try to understand what question number 25 is asking us about. So in question 25 is asking which of the endangered organism in India. All right. So again, in this question, the concept of endangered organism is given, and we have discussed right now what do you understand by endangered and what do you mean by extinct. So endangered, we have seen the species are present, but the rate at which they are decreasing is high. So they are in danger, and we have seen an example of one plant that is podophyllum. But in the question, if you see option A, B, C, D, there is nowhere podophyllum. There are some different examples. So that there is no need to worry. I am there. Let us discuss each of the following, and I will tell you why is option A correct or not. So in option A, it is giving the plant that is given is tamarind. So if you know, this tamarind is nothing but imli. So do you think imli is being endangered? No, it's such a common thing. So it is not. So option A is there still wrong, as well as the monkeys, rhesus monkeys. Do you think that monkeys are becoming endangered? No, we have so many monkeys. Even if you see in some of your houses nearby, monkeys are roaming from one house roof to another, correct? So they are not at all endangered. They are present in large numbers. So option A is definitely a wrong statement. Option B is saying cinchona and leopard. So if you have known that cinchona is a tree whose bark is being used to make malaria medicine. Okay, this is the importance. And even this, the malaria medicines are easily available because the tree itself is easily available. That means the number is high. We are not facing any endangering or extinct for this plant. The the plant species is available in high number, so we have no issues. Similarly, for a leopard, is it that the leopard are very less that they are so less that we can just count it on 2 to 3 digits? No, we have high number of leopards. There might be a situation that the number is decreasing, but they are not endangered. It is not like if we don't protect it, they are going to become extinct in the upcoming few years. That is not the case. We have lots of leopards. So even option B doesn't make any sense. Option C is saying the banyan tree. You have seen banyan tree at so many places while you travel. There might be a banyan tree near your house. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say that in India we have so many banyan trees, and if there are so many, will that be endangered? Obviously, no. That is not true. So even option C can be the correct answer. Option D is saying Bentenikia nicobarica and the red panda. Now there might be a thing that you might have not heard this term as Bentenikia nicobarica. No worries. I will tell you what is the meaning of Pentonychia nicobarica. So actually, it is a type of palm tree. I think I have got a photo for you, but I'm not sure. Let me check if I have a photo. So I don't have a photo, but that is fine. It is like a palm tree. I hope you have seen a palm tree. Palm trees are commonly found in the areas that have beaches. So if you go to areas with beaches like Goa, Andaman, so there you see very big, tall palm trees. And one of the species is nothing but Bentikia nicorbica. Now, this, as the name suggests, it is found commonly in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And since you can't see it everywhere in the neighborhood of your house, that means the number is less, they are not widespread. And if they are not widespread, with their number decreasing in number, we can say it is one of the endangered species. Now, other you have option of red panda. Have you heard about red panda being found in India? No. So use your common sense. If it is not found in India, that means it is endangering. The number is going down. So clearly, with your common sense, you can answer that option D is the most appropriate answer. Now, if you see in these questions of this chapter, if you know you have some basic knowledge about GK, you have common sense, you can eliminate other option and get the correct option just by elimination. Even if you just don't know the concept, that is fine. If you use your common sense, you will get the correct answer. Okay. So if you would have used your common sense and eliminated tamarind, leopard, banyan tree, you would be left with option D. And option D, you might be even sure because you have not heard about red panda. So that is true. Red panda and Bentikia nicobarika is the species that we have seen earlier. So for this question, option number 3 is the appropriate answer. I hope you have understood it. Let us move to question number 26. And the question number 26, they are asking us, according to the IUCN Red List, what is the status of red panda? Right now, we have seen that red panda is a endangered species. Now, in option A, B, C, and D, we have different terms like vulnerable and extinct. So we have seen what extinct and endangered is, but what is vulnerable? Vulnerable means weak. So vulnerable means those which are uh, weak and they will not be able to survive, and in the coming year they might get extinct. So that is it. So actually, the IUCN is National Conservation Nature Natural Resources. So it is listed as the red list. Now, when we say red list, that means they are in red means danger. So red actually refers to endangered. So amongst endangered, we have seen that red panda. The name given biological is Alliurus fugens. So you should know both of the names. Okay. So let me just write you a statistical thing here that in India, from this red list, we have around 54 animal red panda and Bentonikia nicorvica we have seen. So I hope this is clear to you. This concept is clear to you. Okay, so we were discussing the question number 27. So in the question number 27, the question that is being asked to us is one of the most important functions of botanical garden is. So let us see the option A, B, C, and D and try to figure out what is the most important function of botanical gardens. So option A is saying they provide a beautiful area for recreation. That is true. Option B is saying one can observe tropical plants germplasma. Yes, botanical gardens are the examples of XC2. We have seen it. We have seen that whenever a botanical garden comes, this man-made and XC2 conservation, correct? Now, my friends, the question has given four options, and all of them are true for botanical gardens. But in the question, they are asking what is the most important function? Why have we made those botanical gardens? That we have to tell you. So, have we made this botanical garden so that we can go there and have picnic and recreate and chill? No, we have made it. The core behind it, the core objective of making the botanical garden was to do conservation. We wanted to conserve the species, we want to conserve the plants, we want to conserve the wildlife. So, conservation is our main goal. This is the main goal. Other are additional benefits. Definitely, there is recreation spots, there is natural habitat for wildlife, and we can see various tropical plants. But those are all additional, and the main important function is ex situ conservation. So option number C would be the most appropriate answer for this question. Many a times in the paper, you are going to find options in which all of them are related to the question being asked. But amongst the all, you have to select which of them is most appropriate. So you might face some questions like this. Okay. So I hope you have understood the concept of XC2 and C2. And let us move to question number 28. In question number 28, they are asking us, in your opinion, which is the most effective way to conserve the plant diversity of an area? So, my friends, they have given you four different types of conservation of plants. Now you have to justify that among all the four, which is the best. Correct. So first, let's see tissue culture. They are saying creating a biosphere reserve. They are saying creating a botanical garden, and they are saying to develop a seed bank. Okay, so this is an interesting question. Now, again, as I have told you that all four are related to the question, all four can be the answer. But again, we have to find amongst these four which is the most appropriate. So if you know that tissue culture, option A, tissue culture is for propagation, means a specific plant is converted or created by our own, and it does not help you to conserve the diversity in a whole area. By creating the reservoir and botanical garden, we also have a restricted conservation because there is some limit to it. But if we develop banks, the seed banks, I mean, if we develop seed banks, we can store, we can mix genetic material, store and use it in future. So ultimately, this is such a good option. If you see, there is no limitation. You can keep it with you for the future also. So out of all, the most appropriate and the most effective way is to develop seed banks. This is also example of ex situ conservation, but it is of great importance because we can diversify, we can have the growth in future. There are no limitations. So most appropriate answer amongst them would be option number D. I hope you have understood why we have marked option number D. Now, question number 29 is asking us again about endangered species. They have given birds, mammal species, and reptiles, and they are asking which among them is the endangered species. So, what happened is amongst all the mammals are the one with greatest percentage facing extinction. Again, these are direct facts that have been placed to you. So the correct answer is going to be option B. Okay, so let us move to question number 30. In question number 30, they are asking the endangered largest living lemur Dree is found in. So if you know what a lemur Dree is, then you will definitely be able to answer this question. So for you to remember what lemur Dree is, I have got a photo, and if you see this, you are going to answer it on your own. If you have seen this, you are going to remember about the movie Madagascar. I hope you have seen that movie. If not, you can see the poster, and this will help you remember. So this is our lemur that is commonly found in Madagascar. So the correct option for this question is clearly option number C. Sorry, option number B. Okay, try to visualize that image and keep that picture in your mind. It will definitely help you answer the question. Okay, so this was just a factual question. True. And in this question, there was a concept of endangered, and we have discussed what is endangered. And I want you to remember the endangered species in India for plants and animals. We have discussed it, but I want you to remember it. So let us move to question number 31. In question number 31, they are asking an institution where valuable plant material likely to become irrevocably lost in the wild or in cultivation is preserved in a viable condition is known as. So in this question, they are asking you that we have some valuable plant material, but if we just leave it in open space in wildlife, they might get destroyed, they might get lost. So we want to preserve that. So whenever we want to preserve some valuable stuff, where do we go? We go to banks, correct? So similarly, as we keep our all valuable stuff in banks, similarly, if we have to preserve something, we can preserve them in gene banks or the seed banks, which we have discussed. And this is one of the most effective way of conservation, as we have discussed here, correct? Seed banks. It is the most effective way. Similarly, if that same principle can be used to store the valuable stuff, the genetic material of the species that has a tendency to become extinct. So we do not want it to happen. We want to store it. So we are going to store it in gene banks. So the most correct answer for this question is question number is option number D. So with this, let's move to our next question 32 and try to figure out what question 32 was trying to assess. In question 2, another factual question that is being asked, which animal has gone extinct in the recent times in India? Again, a common knowledge question. In India, in recent times, if you have paid some attention, the lions are becoming extinct. The lions. And the correct, the biological name for lions is nothing but Panthera leo. So option A is the correct answer. It is also a fact-based question. There is nothing as a concept in it that I can explain. So correct answer is option number A, panther leo, which is nothing but your lion. So let us move to our question number 33. In question 33, they are saying a high density of protected animal in a national park can result in. So we have actually discussed this concept But let us revise again. So they are saying that this is a national park. This is a national park, and there is high density of animals. That means there are many, many, many animals being protected and preserved here. So if there are high density, there is going to be competition for utilizing the resources and surviving. So there is going to be high competition. That the only option that is matching is option B. But let me also explain you other option A, C, and D. In option A, we have discussed what is mutualism. It means that two species are involved. One species is helping other species, and that other species is going to in return help the first species. So there is some mutual benefit that each one receives from it. Okay. So that is about mutualism. And what is intra-specific competition? We just now saw what is intra-specific competition. It is going to be high in the area of high density. Now let us see option number C. Option number C is saying about emigration. Emigration that a species or a person is going out of the of its original area. And option D is predation. Predation means to capture, to kill, and eat an organism that the predators are. Okay, so that is what it is. So the most correct answer for this question is option B. And in this question, we have discussed the concept about emigration, predation, as well as mutualism. I hope you have understood these three concepts. Let us move to our next question, number 34. And question number 34 is again a factual question, simply asking what is the full form of MAB. So M stands for man, A stands for nothing but and B actually stands for. This is what is important. Is it biology or it's biosphere? It is obviously biosphere because this is going to study the interspecific relationship between the biosphere and the man. That is what is the MAB standing for. It is again a basic factual question. Let us move to question number 35. In question number 35, again, we have to find which of the following is correct. So let us move to the table or the list that we have made and try to refer if all of them are given, and if there are some extra, we are going to add it. So they are saying Gir forest is for tiger. So my friends, you might have heard that the Gir National Park in Gujarat is famous for the lions and not tigers. So option A is wrong. Then we have Kaziranga. So if you know Kaziranga, let me just write it for you. I want you to write it this extra points in your list so that all of them is there. So Kaziranga National Park is in Assam and it is famous for its rhinoceros. Okay, we'll have to draw this table again. That is of no big issue. We can do that. Let us move it down here. And let us see option number C. Option C is saying Run of Kutch is famous for wild ass. So yes, option C is correct. So ultimately we have option C as the potential correct answer for this question. But let us also see option number D. Options D is saying Manas Wildlife Sanctuary. So add this to your list. Manas Wildlife Sanctuary is also in Assam and is famous for its rhino plus elephant. Now, in the question, they have also given us musk deer. So, where do we find musk deer? We find musk deer in Manali. So, we have created a very exhaustive list that can be asked in your question. So, I want you to draw this list with me and all of the potential national parks and what are they specifically famous for is given in this one list. Make sure you make it somewhere in your notes, in your NCRT, at some blank space so that you can revise from this. So, with this, we have come to an end on discussing the previous year questions. But as the session ends, what we do is write down the take home message. So, the take home message from this session or this topic is that there are high number of facts. And if there are facts, I want you to make notes out of it. And how to make ideal notes for such factual things is being discussed in the previous video. I can't find it here. We have discussed how to make notes. I have given you tips how to make notes. You should make notes for yourself. Try to make notes because there are big number of facts. You will have two or maximum three questions, and these are easy to score because they are simple concepts. And what are the high yield topics? Conservation via in situ and ex situ is a very mark it as 2 star, very highly important topic. And other important topic from this topic of biodiversity is you can just remember this table which you have made because many questions from this were from this list also. So this list is also a high yield concept, and we'll write I'll write it as a list we have made. That is a high yield concept. And third is about the endangered species, extinct species, that concept. Okay. So we have discussed this chapter, we have discussed the previous year question, we have understood what kind of questions are being repeated in our exam and how the examiner is thinking when he's framing questions from this topic. So I hope I am able to deliver that to you. We have discussed high concepts and I've tried my best to simplify those concepts. I hope you have understood it. We have discussed the high yield topics very in much of detail, and I have tried to give you some take home messages. All you need to do is to try to just sit and focus on this previous year question. Keep revising the chapters from your books, from your notes, and solve new questions as well. While the previous year questions are the base, but in addition, you can try solving some more questions. And if you are confident enough that you are also getting your questions right and you are confident that you've revised this chapter thrice or 4 times, then you can mark this as completed and move ahead and keep studying other topics. Keep focus on bio, chemistry, and physics. All three subjects are important. Okay, focus on your weaker topics because now you have time. So try to focus on them. Keep studying until then. All the best and thank you.